Hi and welcome. Today I have a art card to show you. I start out with a Bristol Smooth piece of paper cut to 3x4. So this is not the traditional artist trading card size. It's just a size I prefer. I don't trade them. I do give sometimes to friends, but so I don't really care if it is the official size. It's just the size I like. So I give it a base layer of old paper and dry that up. And then I'm taking this stencil from Tim Holtz and I'm going to use some distress micro glaze and go through the stencil with that. I like to use a tiny embossing tool, or not embossing tool, a tiny blending tool to use distress microglaze because it gets in all the places easier. But if you don't have one of those, a large one works fine. It just might not get into every little crack and crevice. Well, even the little ones don't get into every little crack and crevice, but they do a better job, I think. So I just take my time and go and make sure I get every little spot there. And when you lift it, you should be able to see the shiny portions of it. I like to let mine dry a bit, just to make sure it seeps into the page. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but I usually let it dry just a bit. And so I'm going to make this a two-tone, and I'm starting with Broken China. And just a tip, when you're smooshing onto your mat or whatever, just that micro glaze is going to get on your mat. And you'll wonder why it's not coming up. But I use hand sanitizer and just kind of rub it in and it comes right up. Once I get the color on, I do buff off the excess microglaze just so it's not sticky or have excess bumps of it. And then I'm going to use a blending tool and just go over, like I'm going to go over the green with the green and go over the blue with the blue, just to kind of, only because I want to deepen the color. Now, yes, some of this is going to go on top of the microglaze, and if you don't want that to kind of soften that up, you can wipe it off. I don't mind it because you can still see the pattern underneath it. It might not just be quite as obvious, but I think adding the more ink kind of accentuates it too. So next I'm going to stamp. See how drastically my lighting changes in my room? It just, depending on the time of day. And so if I have to let things dry, or if I choose to let them dry naturally, just because I've got other things to do, the lighting I come back could be totally different. It looks to me like I've got my overhead light on here just to shine light on my desk. So I'm using a stamp with some Versamark Claire, and that was a stamp from Tim Holtz Faded Text. And I just did it on some portions that I'm kind of thinking is going to show up on my page or won't be covered by collage, is I guess what I'm saying. But I'm doing a real light color, and this might be the first time I've used this color. I mean, I've had it for quite a while, but I don't recall ever using it. It's the Lost Shadow color, so it's a very soft gray. And of course, Glaze is see-through, so that even makes it even more interesting. But anyway, so I just kind of wanted a little softness, like you don't see it, it doesn't stand out at you, doesn't jump out, but when you look, you see it. I'm also going to give a little bit of splatter with some vintage photo. And of course, I'm going to dry that up. And just to let you know, I usually snip my drying time so that you don't have to sit through the whole drying time. I just don't want you to think it's like, wow, hers dries so much faster than mine. Well, it's just because I cut out a lot of drying time so you don't have to watch it. And then I'm just adding some vintage photo around the edges. I just think that gives the piece a boundary so that it doesn't look like it just goes off into wherever. And so you know me, I like my ledger paper, and I love cutting it into circles. And so that's what I've got here going on, as well as digital flower and number and the little white square that's going to go, or rectangle that's going to go up top. That little piece is a number strip from Tim Holtz. The white rectangular tangle there is a digital download, and I love it because it leaves an area that you can stamp, or you can write something, you know, like if you were gonna send a card or something, you could write happy birthday or thank you, whatever. Well, I can't really say it's small, but because I usually take the digital file and then I'll drop some in another program and just make them sizes that I want. Because I don't do a lot of big things, so I don't like a lot of big ephemera. And then I'm adding just a little leaf, which doesn't make sense to the flower, but I felt it needed something coming off there, so that's okay. I don't care if it doesn't really belong, but it does now. It belongs now. So I start from the back to do my gluing and come forward. in this light you don't see the stencil in the background as much. I'm not gluing my stem yet because I want my number strip to cover the end of the stem and then the leaf go over the number strip. So that's why I'm not gluing it down until I can get it finagled how I want it. I love these flowers that I buy, these and some of the others, but I really wish they'd make longer stems. Not a lot longer, just, I mean, let me chop it off if I want it that short, but just a little bit longer would be nice to have something longer to work with. And I think the last thing I'm doing is adding a sentiment. And this is the Clippings Tim Holtz sticker book. And I'm going to grab one. It says, "For this moment." And that's going to be the last thing I do, I think. And so if you have not subscribed yet, this is your invitation to do so. And if you like what you see, you like this piece, give me a thumbs up. It helps my ratings. I appreciate it. Either way, I've got some final pictures coming up. So take a look at these, and you all just have an awesome day.